Hey guys, I've recently made it to Platinum 1 playing exclusively Dark Magician deck, and I wanted to share a build that's been working well for me. Now Dark Magician is a versatile deck and there are many different ways you can play it. I've seen some people play Control, Trap heavy builds, or mix it with Dogmatica, Sky Striker, and even Invoked Engines. As you can see, I'm running a pure build. I'm not gonna go over every single card since I don't want to make this video too long, just gonna go over a few cards that you usually don't see being played in many other lists. I'm running 3 DM, you can run 2, but I personally prefer 3, as it makes Ebon Illusion Magician play more consistent. Overall, I just really like running 4 level 7 cards and 4 level 6 cards for the Xyz plays. I only run 2 Maxx and 2 Ash. Tried playing 3 copies of each in the past, but I would just end up bricking on them way too often. Feel like with 2 copies of each you see them often enough to where they're relevant, but not often enough to brick on them, if that makes any sense. 3 Apprentice, amazing extender, gets rid of the bricks, enables Xyz plays and has honest effect from hand. Just a great card overall for this build. 1 Mahad, he can be a dead card sometimes, but I feel like he enables some plays that you otherwise wouldn't have access to, like summoning Dark Magicians, playing Soul Servant, stacking Mahad, then immediately summoning Mahad through Dark Magician's effect, which not only allows you to draw 2 cards from Soul Servant, but enables a lot of OTK potential. Mahad can also function like a hand trap in some situations, because when you're using Maxx, there's a good chance that you will draw Mahad, which can potentially save you from OTK situation. And you can even combine Maxx and Soul Servant to summon Mahad on opponent's turn. There is also a cool little synergy with Mahad and Anaconda where you can turn monster dark and then with Anaconda's effect and then run over with Mahad with his own effect, but that rarely comes up if I'm being honest. 1 Dark Magic Attack, this card is very situational and I'll be completely honest, I've tried taking this card out of the deck in the past multiple times, but whenever I do I just end up playing multiple games versus Eldritch or Sky Strikers or any other back row heavy decks, and then end up wishing that I had this card and just eventually end up adding it back into the deck. 1 Bond and 1 Dark Burning Magic, fairly standard since Magician Souls plus Bond enables you to draw 2 cards from Soul Servant on turn 1. Bond can also search out Dark Magic Attack, which you sometimes want if you want to immediately pop back row instead of waiting a turn for the Dark Burning Magic, so that's pretty good. 3 Circles, since this list runs more Dark Magician cards than most other lists that I've seen. It usually gets you something, and if it doesn't, then you can usually at least stack something useful and play Upstart Goblin or something. It's also an Ash Blossom bait, because for some reason a lot of players on Mahad love using their ashes on Circle, so that's good for us. 1 Magician's Navigation, I feel like this card is either 1 or 0 type of card, if that makes any sense. If you run 3 DM, I feel like it's worth playing. If you're not running 3 DM, then probably don't play this card. It's another way of getting Dark Magician Girl out on the field from the deck, or you can summon Dark Magician and Dark Magical Apprentice, and then Apprentice will add another Dark Magician to your hand, so you end up getting a +1 to card advantage. I think the biggest downside to this card is that it gets countered by Ash, so try to bait it first if possible, while the best thing about this card is that the negate effect from the graveyard that people often tend to forget about. So even if you, let's say, discard Magician's Navigation as a cost for Apprentice or Magician Souls, you can still use the free negate effect later. 2 Skill Drains, I think pretty standard. Sometimes Skill Drain can screw you over too, if you're forced to flip it up too early, so I feel like 2 is a good number to run in this deck. 1 Combination, another card that I rarely see other DM lists run. It's literally a once per turn Omni Negate, with the main downside to the card being that it can be a bit difficult to set up. To set it up early you need 3 cards for it. Magician Souls, Combination itself, and either Apprentice or Dark Magician in hand, which makes it a bit situational but still very powerful under the right circumstances. It also has the effect to destroy a card if it's sent to the graveyard, so you can use it as a bluff or send it to the graveyard as a cost for Magician Souls effect. The latter I've used quite a few times to get around things like Vanity's Emptiness and such. As for the extra deck, I've been testing Beat Cop from the Underworld as a link to option that can protect Eternal Soul, since we lack good link to options in Master Duel anyway, besides maybe Anaconda and maybe Hulk. Everything else is pretty standard here, I think. As a proof, I'm just gonna show a few random games from my match history that I've been playing nothing but Dark Magician. And yeah, I usually play on Steam, but I only have a way of showing replays on PS4, so not really use it to controls. minus 4. So yeah, as you can see, I'm Platinum 1. I'm just gonna go over a couple of games really quickly, just to show that I'm playing Dark Magician. Oops, wrong button. As you can see, Dark Magician deck. Next replay. Dark Magician deck, and I'll show one more replay for good measure. I don't know, maybe this one. That's about it. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest, I think this list can make it to Platinum 3 fairly easily if you're familiar with Dark Magician deck, know their combos and don't misplay too much, but from Plat 3 onwards it's really a grind. As you probably saw in my matches 3, I've been winning and losing a lot. I think it's kind of expected since Dark Magicians are obviously not a meta deck. Oh, and before I forget, you usually wanna go first with this deck, though you can still win as a second player depending if you drew your hand traps and whether or not you're facing a meta deck. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show. Hope you enjoyed the deck. Have a great day, everyone.